In the age of gods and men, heroes rose and fell, but one mortal would defy even the gods themselves. His name was Diomedes, son of Tydeus, born in the kingdom of Argos, destined to carve his legend in bronze. From his father, he learned courage. From his mother, grace.
Even before the call to war, the blood of heroes stirred within him, a promise whispered by the winds of fate.
He was a leader forged not by birth, but by discipline and resolve.
And the goddess Athena watched over him, for she saw in his heart the balance of wisdom and war.
And so, the dawn of war approached and the world would remember his name. The winds of destiny gathered at Aulis, where 1,000 ships awaited their call. In peace, he was honored. In war, he was feared. His heart belonged to both.
He grew beneath the Argive sun, strong of arm and sharp of mind, trained in the art of war before most had learned to speak. Among the weapons of his forefathers, he found more than steel. He found a calling.
In the kingdom of Argos, beneath the rising sun, a boy was born who would one day stand among legends.
His mother, Deipyle, cradled him gently, unaware that the cradle held a warrior.
Before he was a king, before he was a hero, he was a boy who refused to bow to fear. Steel had not yet touched his hand, yet the spear obeyed him as if born to it. He walked among the stones of Argos, where the voices of old heroes whispered through time.
And beneath the sky of Argos, a boy became a warrior.
Tydeus watched the boy, and in him saw the reflection of a storm long ago unleashed.
Every step he climbed brought him closer to the legacy that waited, heavy as bronze, bright as the sun.
In the Hall of Kings, beneath the gaze of Tydeus, the boy learned what it meant to be a son of Argos.
Even as a boy, his resolve burned brighter than the gold that crowned his father's hall.
Beyond these hills, destiny waited, and Diomedes did not look away. Before the gods, he did not beg for favor. He vowed to earn it. This was the dawn of his legend, the beginning of Diomedes, son of Tydeus.
Years passed, and the boy who once trained beneath the sun now walked among warriors as their leader.
Even the elders began to listen, for in his voice, they heard the weight of victory.
Argos was his home, but destiny whispered from beyond its walls.
And in quiet moments, the weight of kingship already sat upon his shoulders. Upon the walls of Argos, he did not see a city. He saw a kingdom to protect.
He had earned not only skill, but command. In Argos, his voice was no longer that of a boy, but a king in waiting.
The council no longer spoke over him. They listened.
A single voice commanded an army.
He spoke of plans not as dreams, but as victories already claimed.
The gates of Argos did not confine him. They would one day open to the world.
When he raised his hand, Argos rose with him.
For a warrior, armor is more than steel. It is the promise of battles yet to come. The stars above Argos shone upon a man who would change their course forever. As Argos slept, its destiny burned quietly in the heart of its champion. At dawn, the port of Argos awoke to destiny. 1,000 sails waited for the wind. He walked the pier not as a traveler, but as a conqueror in waiting.
The horizon no longer belonged to dreams. It was his path now.
And so the fleet of Argos moved, cutting across the world like a blade toward Troy. At the prow stood a man who would shake the walls of Troy. The wind bent its will to their cause. The sea carried their resolve. The gods themselves watched their journey as the waves bowed beneath their prows. But no voyage is blessed without trial. The storm rose to meet them.
The storm raged. He stood like bronze against gods.
And as the storm broke, the shores of Troy rose to meet the son of Argos. On the plain before Troy, the world held its breath. A storm of men was about to break. At the spear point of the Greek army stood a warrior whose name the world would learn to fear. When Diomedes moved, the earth itself seemed to answer. In his silence, the storm was born. The field between two worlds lay silent, waiting for the first spear to break it. The line tightened like a drawn bow, and at its center, Diomedes, the arrow. The storm finally broke, not from the sky, but from the ground. From Troy's high walls, the first arrow flew to meet the storm.
The earth cracked with his call, and the army answered.
The silence shattered with the whisper of a single arrow. The first arrow struck the shield. The next would meet the man who stood behind it. Then came the first strike of Argos' storm. The Trojans struck, but the son of Tydeus did not yield. His spear spoke louder than any war cry. And the plain of Troy erupted like a thunderclap. He tore through their ranks like a blade through silk. Men followed where gods would soon turn their gaze. From the heights of Olympus, they watched him with a silence older than war. And in that moment, the gods saw a mortal who did not bow. From the storm stepped Ares, war itself given form. But the son of Tydeus did not bow, not to men, not to gods. And on that day, a mortal struck at a god. The thunder had faded, and in its place, shadows crept between broken spears. Odysseus was the mind, Diomedes the blade. Together, they moved like night itself. Every broken helm told a story. Tonight, Silence was their language. The Trojan camp loomed ahead. A synced mistake here could end legends. The blade whispered where war had screamed.
They slipped beneath firelight, as if the night itself parted for them.
One breath.
Odysseus hid the evidence, turning murder into shadow.
Two shapes in the dark, one purpose between them. Before every storm, there is silence. But fate had sent another hunter into the night. Dolon. The wolf's hunt ended in silence, caught by sharper fangs. The hunter became the prey, and the night began to speak. But in the dark, not all hunters remain unseen. The battlefield was quiet, but honor had not yet spoken. Two warriors, sworn to fight, met not as beasts, but as men. In the mist, he saw not an enemy, but a mirror of his own courage. Steel held its breath. Two names whispered across history, prepared to speak. Honor does not need banners. It lives in the eyes of those who choose it. Warriors remove their armor not to surrender, but to speak as equals. A single gesture can halt an army. He offered not mercy, but brotherhood. Two enemies chose honor over blood. Gold can weigh more than armor face when it carries a man's name. And so, a single act carved their names into eternity. The hero returned home, but the sky itself refused to celebrate him. No banners, no cheers, only silence to greet the conqueror.
Argos had grown quiet, and quiet cities carry heavy truths.
The cheers he expected had turned to whispers.
And from the shadows, the knives of politics began to turn.